right, man. I have seen a comment. I should have screenshotted it, but for some reason the editor let me put it on the screen. I gotta email them about that. But and it said basically that Brad Holmes is not going to splurge in free agency. He ain't gonna spend money unless it's homegrown. So he only gonna pay guys that he drafted and that he's probably never going to make a splash in free agency. Last year he shot people and he got a value deal on C.J. Gardner-Johnson. But what I took from the press conference, I agree with the commenter. He basically told people at the end of the season press conference that the guys they bring in or don't bring in, you know, it's about the culture. And he basically said in so many words that they wasn't gonna make a splash. So I don't know what would entice him to make that splash. Would it have to be a Chris Jones? Some people like T. Higgins. I'm not a big. I like T. Higgins, but I'm not like. I just did a video about Justin Fields unfollowing the Bears and explaining that to the St. Browns on their podcast. And check out Detroit Lions Talk playlist, by the way, if I ain't said. I want to support the channel. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. But one of the things that I was saying in that video, I look at DJ Shark as a really, really elite number 2 receiver, borderline number 1. I look at T. Higgins in the same way. I don't really see Mike Evans, DeAndre Hopkins, Keenan Allen. You know what I'm saying? I don't really see him being that guy. And maybe him possibly leaving Cincinnati and doing that. In my opinion, and people probably gonna disagree, and I did a short, and maybe if it's received well, I'll do a lengthy one on Calvin Ridley, the video version. I was saying I would rather have Calvin Ridley over T. Higgins, and people gonna say, "Oh, you out your fucking mind?" And I'm probably T. Higgins is cool, but the way y'all making him seem like he this motherfucking top 10 receiver, I don't see it. I don't see it. He made great plays, he splashed here and there, but I don't see the consistency. And like I said, that might have a lot to do with, playing next to Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, and spreading the ball around. So when you going to get a guy like T. Higgins, you pretty much projecting, that he's going to grow into a superstar. You giving him some money based on potential and giving him a higher workload. But that's just my opinion. But nonetheless, is it going to be an interior defensive lineman? Like, what does it have to take? Is this Josh Allen? You know what I'm saying? And I'm telling you, what they're doing, and what he's doing right now, they're breaking down the draft board. They ain't even thinking about the free agent board. But is it like, okay, we get this guy or these guys, we willing to spend money on these guys to bring them in? Or is it just going to be mid to lower level guys to fill it out? And historically, like the biggest line free agent splash that it might be the biggest Detroit free agent splash of all, of the last 24 years, maybe even going back 34 years. And as you guys know, it's the 20th anniversary of the Pistons winning the championship coming up pretty soon. They celebrating it March 17th versus the Miami Heat. So in the last 34 years, going back to 1990, just as far as Detroit sports that I can remember, and I'm not the biggest baseball guy, but did they trade for Juan? Was it Juan Gonzalez? What was the guy we got from the Rockies and shit? Did they trade it for him? Somebody said in the comment section. And obviously, minus the Red Wings, they did some things too. It was no salary cap. But as far as Lions, Pistons, and Tigers, I can remember. Golden Tate was probably the biggest free agent, guy in Detroit for a minute. I know we got James Stewart from Jaguars. He had a couple good seasons. But yeah, Golden Tate was the biggest name for everybody else. Rasheed Wallace, even going back a little bit further, Mark McGwire was traded for, Adrian Danley was traded for, Vinny Johnson was traded for, Bill Laimbeer was traded for, Rick Mahorn was traded for. I think Jerry Stackhouse was traded for, Allen Iverson was traded for. As far as just splash, a lot of them guys was via trade. Even the bad ones, Ben Gordon, I mean, even the bad ones don't stack up. Ben Gordon, Josh Smith, Charlie Villanueva was free agents, but they wasn't that good. So it's hard to get free agents to come to Detroit. You got to overpay them, and Detroit has just been a city that don't overpay. But once you win, then guys start to want to be a part of the culture. Once you treat guys well, once you upgrade your facilities, you be in a first class organization, I think it'll make it a lot easier for people who want to come. But I think if he had an opportunity to aim and shoot and get a Chris Jones, I think he gets it done. I think he has to. I think it's probably a handful of guys that they say, well, we willing to do a deal with. But when you start talking about the handful of guys they're willing to do a deal with, you probably talking about a Gilmore wouldn't be in that. I think they can get Gilmore at a good price. Because Gilmore is I'm ready to win. Stephon Gilmore, I'm ready to win right now. So you probably get him on a 1 or 2 year deal that really not considered a big splash where you 3 or 4 year, 80-9. Them days behind him. But I think if you're talking about a splash, you probably think about, I think it's probably if a Burns hit the market, an Allen hit the market, and that's on the lower end of the spectrum. And I think on the elite end of the spectrum is Chris Jones and that inside defensive lineman from Baltimore. I think them the 4 guys they may think about splurging on in free agency. So I agree with the comment. I don't think Brad Holmes is going to be spending any big money in free agency. I think it's going to be about, flipping, getting assets, building through the draft. And I just think they're going to build this thing through the draft because it's the most financial efficient thing to do. So yeah, I agree. I don't see them making a splash. Detroit has really never made, outside the wings, they really never made big splashes for free agency. I think Tigers, I don't really know, Tigers had a an elite bullpen at one point with Verlander, Scherzer, Anibal Sanchez. I mean, it was elite, bro. Prince Fielder. So they've had, I'm pretty sure some of those guys are free agents. Somebody will correct me. But outside the Tigers and the Wings, I know Wings had some guys they got. Outside of them two between the Lions and Pistons, it ain't been, big free agents. But hey, let me know what you girls and guys think. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. The subscribe button is the bell icon button. Hit all notifications, increase your chance to get notifications. We go live or drop video. Hit the link tree, X, Spotify, Anchor, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, the whole 9. Check out Detroit Lions Talk playlist. Love to hear what you guys think in the comment section and gals as well too. Peace.